Hello, tending to my flowers in front of the gallery, Melissa Ichiuji Studio Gallery. It's a beautiful Saturday morning here in Front Royal, Virginia. If you have not seen our current exhibition, Slow Image, Get Thee to Front Royal. This exhibition incorporates mid-century modern masters such as Picasso, Miro, Matisse, Salvador Dali, Alexander Calder, Kandinsky. Okay, even Washington, D.C., you're not going to find a collection like this. It took me 2 years to compile and curate this exhibition. These artists are showing alongside contemporary artists, female artists that are regional. Okay, so there's a conversation going on. We also have in Gallery 2, Keith Patterson and Mac McIntyre. Hey, come on in and check this out. We have our front royalty t-shirts. For those that don't know, the royals came. The king and queen of England came to Front Royal. We represented basically small town United States, and they chose Front Royal for good reason. We've got our front royalty merch. Slow Image. As you come in the gallery, you're going to see a description of what this show is about. Slow Image is really about an invitation to slow down, to consider how things are made in this fast-paced world where images are, just moving so fast, accelerating even. This show invites you to slow down, look at how things are made, look at texture, look at line, look at, all the beautiful, minute details. Okay, so as you come in, you've got the title of the show, Material Intelligence Across Generations. Yesterday we had our Bright Minds Reading Hour with Samuel's Public Library. So it's a partnership so that children can come, have books read about the artists on view. Okay, this is part of a Front Royal Project for the Arts, extension into the community so that we can really open these doors to anyone, okay, whether or not you've had experience with art or not. This is a welcoming environment where anyone can walk in and learn something about art. We have Giacometti, we have Henry Moore, here we've got Matisse, Kandinsky, Leger, more Matisse, Picasso. When I tell you that this is an extraordinary opportunity for you to see this work in person, I'm not kidding. More Picasso. Juan Miró. Marc Chagall. Love and fairy tale and home, village life, and nostalgia. And here we have Alexander Calder. You may know Alexander Calder primarily for his mobiles. He started out as an engineer, so he was very interested in kinetic movement. Squash blossoms, very graphic, very minimal. And this was a time when people were exploring how to reduce something to its essence. Squash blossoms, I see it. Akemi Maegawa, ceramicist, regional, Maryland, whimsical vessels that are, in the tradition of Japanese ceramics, they are, meticulously created, elegant, just perfection. More Hyunsuk Erickson. Okay, here we've got mom and baby, here we've got dad, all about community, all about community. Here's my work. This is Goddess of the Burning House. It's made out of steel. Welded steel, and this sculpture here to the left is made of fabric. So I started in fabric, and then I wanted to know how can I make something a little bit more bold. So I figured out how to use steel like I work with fabric. So sort of cutting it, shaping it, stitching it. This is Eve. Eve encompasses the whole story. She's got the snake, temptation. You've got the apple, knowledge, and you've got the awakening in the blooming of the flowers. These are petite oracles. So I'm very interested in dolls and the history of dolls. Dolls are the oldest toy in existence. As soon as somebody could pick up a straight object, whether it was a bone or a stick, they would tie a little piece of skin or fabric, and then it was suddenly endowed with the characteristics of a human. I would consider the Venus of Willendorf or any of those fertility objects as a kind of doll, the subconscious, right? So these are meant to be dream keepers. You write your dream inside, you put it in the backpack, they guard your dreams and desires and wishes and hopes. These are all handmade. This is a doily from my grandmother, who was an Appalachian seamstress. Her name was Dolly Mae Boone, and a descendant of Daniel Boone. So we are very resourceful folk. And anyway, so these are all, I would say, like power figures, right? They borrow this idea that a doll, a figure, somewhat like in African communities, in Egyptian cultures, actually all throughout cultures, this idea that a figure like this can hold ancestral wisdom and spirit, and you can call on it for power. So these are oracles. You ask it a question, you choose an egg. The question might be a yes or no. Green means go, red means hesitate, think on it. This is the goddess of get her done. This is the goddess of taking no shit. This is the goddess of, oh yes, I did. We've got some beautiful peonies from the garden, more Hyunsuk Erickson. Here we've got Suzanne Tabetand. Suzanne Tabetand creates paintings, I think, that are very reminiscent of Picasso, right? So she grew up in Western Europe, Africa, the Middle East, very much influenced by tribal communities, particularly women who share camaraderie and knowledge amongst one another. So she's got this beautiful piece here. This is called Medusa's Gaze, right? So she's drawing on this idea of presence, of the power of the feminine, divine feminine. Each of these dolls has a home. These are carrying cases for each one, and it guards them, and it also guards it from you. So you can lock it up. You might ask why the coffin, okay, and why the eroticism. You know, it makes the world go round, right? Death and sex, let's just say that. And, you know, this is the divine feminine. There was a time in culture, in the world, when we worshipped the divine feminine, because that was the all-knowing powers that be, right? We come from the feminine, Mother Nature. Okay, so these have their homes. This is Alexandra Sherman. This is a body of work created with watercolors called semi-precious watercolors. The reason they're called that is because they incorporate a very finely ground precious stones, and that gives them a luminosity, different intensity of colors. This body of work is inspired by her experience with an autoimmune challenge. And so each one really explores different states that she experienced. More petite oracles. I turned these around because yesterday we had kiddos. More Alexandra Sherman. This is a completely different body of work. These are vintage, primarily frames. She is very interested in ephemera, like rare documents, receipts, letters, playbills. So each one of these has its own story, and then she expands on it with incorporating different collage elements. And each one is completely unique, and it's based on sort of the mysteries. They're really lovely, dreamy, and they have a lot of soul, I would say. So they've been very popular. Here we have Jody Mussoff, somewhat of a local legend, let's say. She's been around the DC scene and has been very well regarded, and so much so that she's in some pretty important collections. Smithsonian. So these are all different representations, I would say, of feminine experience. They are stream of consciousness. There's a lot of surreal narrative. So she sort of takes you on journeys. You're not quite sure where they're going or what they mean, but she gives you space to fill in the blanks, you know? I think that's a really important part of artwork, is to maintain the mystery. And more extraordinary work here. Melissa Ichiuji Studio Gallery. Come see this exhibition, Slow Image, Material Intelligence Across Generations. Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 11 to 6. And I'll be here and I'll see you then.